Create with Fran Sydney. Hello everyone, welcome to Create. You are with me, I'm your host, Fran Sydney, and today I want to talk about many interesting things. So welcome to episode 59. The topic will be understanding the difference between teaching, coaching, mentoring, counseling, and hypnotherapy. These are all different things that we can use in our lives to help us to progress, but they all come at different points and for different reasons. So let's get on. Many times people come to me and they wonder what is the best thing to do in their case. Is it going to be a little bit of mentoring or counseling, or maybe they need something else? And I'm not a counselor, but I'm able to tell you what is the difference between coming to me for coaching or for therapy or hypnosis, etc. So there is a little bit of confusion everywhere. So let's get a little basic foundation about these things so you can understand better what your needs are and where you can address them. Let's start with teaching. If you see that somebody is a teacher, you will notice that these people are going to give you instruction and guidance about a very specific subject. And the goal when you go to a class or you have a teacher on YouTube or Skillshare, the goal is to learn something very, very specific. The teacher is there to tell you how to do something, and you will have progress, but it can be fast, it can be slow, it can be sporadic, it can take many years. It depends, if you're getting a degree, the teacher will be working with you for many years. And the teacher is so passing the knowledge that he has to the student, but we do notice that many times the students are disengaged. They're not quite there. They're busy doing other things. So sometimes the teacher, even a brilliant teacher, is not getting the result because it's a student, sometimes in primary school, junior school, even high school. The student is not wanting to be there. He has not chosen to be there, and is not interested in that specific topic. However, even if he is not interested, there are penalties for students who do not reach the set outcome. And so every student must fit into an academic model to succeed, and you have things called markings, 1 to 10 or ABC. And so the teacher has the dreadful job of ticking the boxes with your achievements and teaching in groups usually, not one-to-one. And the teacher is the expert, so you cannot really challenge his statements, especially up to high school, because he knows and you have no idea. So there is a relationship between teacher and student that is not equal. The teacher is higher, the student is lower and has to kind of lay low, unless you're at university when you're more encouraged to have perhaps a debate, which is much more open, right? But in the beginning, if you're taught maths and 1 + 1 is 2, there is no argument about it. So that's what the teacher does. He's a noble individual, wonderful professions, but is very focused, specific on one topic given to a group or to a person, and the person is not always willing to learn. So if you look at somebody on the internet that is trying to teach you something, get it as it is. He's a teacher, and it's a wonderful thing to do. Okay, then there is another category, and that's mentoring. There are people that are mentors. They might call themselves even coaches, but they're actually mentors. What's a big thing? So the focus here is different. It's on giving and receiving direction and evaluating the options that you have, and you have a very specific goal, which is intentional growth with very, very specific areas, and is based on predetermined outcomes. So for example, your mentor is teaching you how to bike proficiently. So he is your role model, and he will guide you on how to ride the bike. He will advise you on the best equipment and gear, on the positions, which parts of the bike you have to know well, how to take care of your posture, and he will support you because you do not have that experience. So he will say, do as I do. And you are going to be nurtured because you follow the method. He has set this method. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's been doing it for years. You just trust him. If you follow that, you will have that result. And you can be mentored individually or in the group. And what is mentoring doing? Is seeking to build in wisdom. So it's the ability to apply the skill to ride on the bike to get the gear corrected, to have a posture right, and to have the knowledge and experience so that when you have new situations happening, you know how to ride the bike and you can do it because your mentor has taught you. And mentoring is very much used within companies where you have apprenticeships and you teach people how to do the job. And even without that, if you're new in the company, you might be mentored for 3 days or a week, or if you are going from one position to a higher one, you might be mentored by somebody who tells you exactly what is expected of you. So it's still a position where the mentor is the expert and you're supposed to do as he does. He's going to show you, he's going to tell you exactly, go here, go there. You listen, you take notes, you do as you're told. And it's wonderful because it really helps you if you make some mistakes. It puts you back into the right position. For example, if you wanted to draw very well and you have a mentor, you will go a lot faster than anyone else. Why? Or anyone else. Because he will tell you, look, he will pick up everything you've done that is not quite right and he will alert you, say, Ray, if you keep doing that, you're going to have this problem. I suggest you change the position of your hand or whatever, and look faster, look upside down, change the paper in this way. So they will tell you small little things that no book can tell you, because a book cannot be there to tell you what you're doing wrong. So you can really grow with mentoring, and it's a wonderful thing to have as well as teaching. And let's move to coaching. In coaching, we have a different type of relationship because the focus of a coach is to support the client to find his own solutions to the issues that he is facing. So the goal is to get clarity, to solve issues, to improve performance, and to have set outcomes, but also a strategy. So the coach will help you to see what it is that you want to achieve, why you want it, how you're going to feel about it, and what strategy you will need. And also, of course, the coach helps you to see what can possibly stop you doing this, who can support you, what are your resources. So the coach believes that all the resources are around you, and your own mind is the best resource of all. You can alert it, you can teach it how to perform well. So the progress depends, of course, on the client's level of motivation. It can be really fast, depending on the action that is taken, and it can be slow if a person has issues, maybe emotional issues that are keeping him very, very stuck. The coach, anyway, is there to facilitate this inner growth, right? So the client is very engaged, he's very much taken in this process of finding the answers, because a coach will ask you question after question. All of these questions will be what, where, who, how, and why. He will not ask you anything else, and he will not tell you ever what to do. If a coach is telling you what to do, he's not a coach. Maybe it's a coach mentor, or maybe it's just a mentor, or maybe it's just a teacher. But a proper coach will never, ever tell you what to do. He will not even need to know the topic. You can coach a person without knowing nothing about the topic that the person is talking about, because we are talking about values and principles all the time. So it's very interesting, because when you're a coach, you see every client as a different person, as a resourceful person, as a wonderful person. Even a homeless person is wonderful because they have so much resourcefulness inside themselves. They manage to eat every day, on most days. They manage to sleep somewhere. How do they do it? They have resources that they use. Their mind is brilliant. They're finding solutions all the time. And so the coach has a very positive view of people and doesn't try to push a solution. It just creates a rapport, a very good rapport to communicate at a deeper level, to engage a client. And although mentors as well and teacher as well, they will try to build a rapport. For a coach, it's like the basics. You cannot really coach without rapport. It's impossible. And another thing is a coach is not going to sit there and tick boxes. You won't get marks, but you do get to talk about a problem and see how you're getting on. So when you have your coaching session, you talk about your problem. Maybe you are self-sabotaging and eating too much food when you shouldn't, and you're gaining up those kilos you didn't want to gain, and you start looking at your strategy, how are you doing this, etc. And the coach will always help you, and it's not going to tell you off or give you bad marks or telling you fail the exam. No, there is no positive or negative, there is only feedback. What can you learn from this situation? That's what coaching is really. It's helping the person to move towards a better outcome with a very clear strategy, and then with checking up every few weeks or days to see how the progress is going and maybe adjust a little bit if things are not going as we hope. Sometimes, no matter how much the coach is qualified and very, very good and the client is really trying, the desired outcome is not coming because the client keeps self-sabotaging or has problems or maybe has anxiety and panic attacks. So there is a point, there is the threshold, the line when the coach realizes that there is more that the client needs to do, and that is therapy or maybe counseling. And that's a completely different realm because we're talking about mental health. So while a coach is mostly working with a person who is highly motivated and driven and is doing pretty much well, but he wants to get better, he wants to perform, wants to stop some self-sabotage, but he knows you can do it. He's like, okay, I can do this. He can see himself in the end. When you're shifting to therapy is when you realize that you need a bigger push, a much deeper work, and be very, very kind, because there could be trauma, there could be events that happen in the beginning of our lives or maybe 20 years ago that have shaped our beliefs and that are changing the way we react to normal situations. So when we're talking about coaching, we're talking about achieving a specific goal by preparing a very specific set of steps that the client is in charge of. When we're talking about counseling or therapy, the goal is to achieve a psychological type of well-being, so to feel more balanced, to cope better with a situation that we have. So you gain this personal well-being, and your progress changes depending on how serious is the issue. So there will be a counselor that will help you if you are in distress, for example, and you're trying to reach a sense of balance, and just telling you the story, is very good. So the counselor listens to you, telling them what happened to you in detail, and he helps you to maybe see things under a different light, achieve clarity on small parts, and so you go week after week for months or for years, and it's just a different approach. In the case of a counselor, he is the expert. He might have a diploma, he might have a degree, while a coach does not need a degree, and he will give you techniques, tips, ideas, solutions. So it's a little bit like in the mentoring part of business. He will help you because he wants to see you to progress and to get better, to feel better, more balance. And sometimes the client is not very ready to make changes and they're not taking actions. So the counseling might take years and years because the client just likes to go there and talk, but do nothing about his situation. So it is very good to do counseling in groups, but the best counseling is one-to-one or couples together because it achieves a better outcome than working with group, because every person will have a very different way of looking at things and very particular blocks. Therefore, you can use counseling in different occasions. For example, if you're going through grieving or a painful divorce, or there was trauma in your family, maybe there was some violence in your town and you have witnessed an event that was difficult to cope with, or maybe if you have children taken away by the social services, if you need help because your mental wellness is not all there, but you're not really bad, but you just need a little bit of support for a long while. Maybe if you have adopted children or foster children and you want to be very balanced in your approach, there are lots of things that a counselor can do, helping, for example, a student that is not performing well and needs a little bit more help. So counseling is a wonderful profession and you can really help people. And that's where sometimes people go for help in the long term. And then finally we have two more. We have therapy and psychotherapy in a psychiatric mode. So there is a big difference. So I do not do psychiatry, and I do not have a degree in psychiatry, and I'm never going to get one because that's not the realm where I want to operate. But I do know that the psychiatrist can diagnose and can prescribe a medication and a course of cure or something if he thinks that you can get better. However, let's go back to the coaching. You were there and you went to the coach because you wanted to lose weight. The coach helps you to see the how, the why, and the what. You have all your sessions, but you keep self-sabotaging. The coach knows exactly how to deal with that and he helps you, but then you keep falling over and over and over. At that point, the coach says, okay, enough and enough. You need a therapist. Why? Because what you have is really deeply embedded patterns of thinking and maybe some trauma or something that is really holding you back that will only come out not when you're talking to somebody, but will come out with a therapist, and especially in hypnosis. So that's a different way of acting, is when we realize that our logical mind apparently is on our side because we are saying all the right things. Oh yes, I absolutely want to improve my marriage, I absolutely want to get better at work, I absolutely want to lose weight, but it's not happening. So there is something, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and the therapist, and especially hypnotherapist, is there to see what is happening just underneath that big tip of the iceberg. There's a whole iceberg underneath, and it doesn't need to take it all out, but just need to see the roots. How did you start to build this belief that is now holding you back and stopping you achieving what you want? That's the big question. And that's what we do when, for example, personally, I do Rapid Transformational Therapy, which is a blend of psychology techniques and NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, so using the neuroplasticity of the brain, CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, and coaching. All together they make RTT, which is a method that is a blended method that comes from very established parts therapy, and there is transforming therapy from what's his name, Gil Boyne, and everything. And Marisa Peer put it all together in a very special way, and this is RTT. And RTT is different compared to other techniques because it aims to put together a bit of counseling, a bit of coaching, a bit of everything, but to get resolution a lot faster. So instead of seeing your therapist every week for several weeks and maybe for years on end, RTT allows you to go straight down to the core reason of why you're doing something, and usually 1 to 3 sessions is more than enough to sort out the problem, reprocess your mind, and then to using the recording to really solidify this new belief in your brain. And why is that? Because when you do that, you are teaching your brain something new by repetition, because our mind loves learning by repetition. So that's how you memorize all your little poetry bits and the numbers. And when you're young, you learn everything by having it repeated to you over and over. So the same thing is for every behavior we have. If you keep repeating a good behavior, you will eventually get it ingrained in yourself. And to start that behavior, you need to start a new way of thinking. So that's how RTT works, and that's what I do. In my sessions, I will use mostly RTT. So I use RTT when I see that a coaching session will not even scratch the surface, because I can see straight from the beginning that there is an emotional block. The client or patient has already tried all sorts of things and they're not working, so that I can really tell, okay, there is a deep emotional block. Let's go straight into that. We use hypnotherapy to reach to that. Now, you should not be worried about hypnotherapy because it is nothing particular, and the type of brain waves that we have during hypnosis are the same that we have in the morning when we're first waking up or just about to wake up, and in the evening where we are just about to fall asleep. Or, for example, we can have the same type of brain activity in theta mode when we're watching television, when we are relaxing, when we are meditating, when we are sitting in a garden in the nature or by the sea and just letting ourselves go and relax a little bit and think about everything and nothing. That's hypnosis. It's nothing weird or dangerous, but there will be a whole episode on that in the future, very near future. So don't miss that because there will be a little bit more detail. And lastly, there is conversational hypnosis, which is done without putting you to sleep as such, and it can be done just by talking normally, and that's that, And one very famous example is Erickson. So when you learn Ericksonian hypnosis, you can just talk to people and they will be able to establish a change and a shift in their way of thinking. And I will always remember a story of this guy that went to have a session for stopping smoking, which, as we know, is very difficult to do because most people deep inside, they don't want to stop smoking. They just want a shortcut or something. They think they want, but they want all the comfort. So it's very difficult for them to stop. This guy went after trying all sorts of things and he decided to go to the very famous Milton Erickson. And when he came out, his friend said, "So, how did he go?" And he said, "Oh, I don't know. He told me 2 stories and a joke and I feel absolutely great. I have no desire whatsoever to smoke ever again." And that is exactly how conversational hypnosis works. In just knowing which words to use and how to use them to create this state of understanding, of trance, where you can go deeper and get your solution very, very quickly. So it's amazing. I hope that this is helpful to make you understand a little bit of what happens behind the scenes and what is really that you need if you want to get better in your situation. So just if you have any more questions, feel free to send me any questions via private message or email, whatever you can find on my website, which is www.franzsydney.com, or just set up an appointment, which is calendly.com/FranzSydney. As you can see my banner on Facebook, and with that I can see and talk to you about what is that you need in your own situation. So while counseling and therapy are more for maybe PTSD and very grievous, heavy things, or maybe sometimes for a very, very serious thing, for example, bipolar or psychosis, these are things that I don't deal with. I do not deal with psychosis. I will send the person to a psychiatrist who is more suitable for this. But all the rest, I hope that it was clear where I can help you, how I can help you. Feel free to ask any questions, and the discovery call is always free, so you can get your questions sorted out and know very well what can be helpful for you, so you can have quick results, lasting results, and at least get to manage your condition. Sometimes we have a condition for life, but you can feel happier. So I always like to say I do not heal depression, but I can help you to be a lot happier than you are. So, back again, I hope that this was helpful. So, thank you very much for listening to me, and I will talk to you next week. Take care. You've listened to Create with Franz Sydney.